Hey everyone, I'm Megan from AbelCine, and I'm here in the AbelCine Chicago office. And joining me today is Andy from LA and Jeff from New York. Thanks guys for joining me today.
Good to be here.
And last year at this time, we actually talked about NAB 2016, what we were excited to see, what you could see from us. So we wanted to get together and do that again.
Yeah.
So how about to get started, we just touch base on the trends of last year that we noticed, after the fact. And that'll kind of lead us into what we're excited to see this year. So I think two trends definitely from last year that we can touch on are HDR and virtual reality, right? So how did we kind of see those come to fruition?
Well, I think they were big buzzwords, both of them, but I think they're both well established now and become more of a reality. I think HDR, to start off to say, last year we saw, a lot of people just sort of proving to the technology,
right.
Making it show, you got to see it to really kind of get into it. Mm-hmm. And we established some good products, but now I feel like we have the technology out there where everyone's in it, and it's just about getting the content made and being more of a reality. Yeah.
Right, and we saw that a lot at CES this year too. A lot of the new sets that are being shown were all HDR compatible or capable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're all 4K as well, but we feel like that's probably, most folks are already on that 4K bandwagon.
Yeah.
They're there already. It's now the new wave is HDR.
Right.
Right.
And those folks are the consumers will be the ones driving the content creators to push the content to us to enjoy it. So it's whether it's the Netflixes or the Amazons of the world, the various OTT networks, that's really the future, I think.
Right.
So, and if you have the content and you have the TVs, it'll just drive it. And that's what we need now, and that's what's happening. It's just like getting to that point when now it's time to switch over. And I think in a lot of ways it's more compelling than the resolution gains too. So it's really interesting.
Well, I think as you said, now we're seeing the application of HDR, right?
Yeah.
So all the way from on-set to post-production to distribution.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is most important, as opposed to just so product heavy. It's more how are we going to use that through the whole technology process.
Exactly. And that's nice about, to your point on set, we saw some of the tools introduced and been more established since then. Having HDR on a monitor, a small monitor on set is a big deal too. Yeah. To actually see everything the camera produces, which is also a nice thing, regardless of HDR.
Right, with the high dynamic range of all of our cameras right now, right? It's great to see that on set.
Yeah, exactly. And then VR, right?
Yeah.
More virtual reality,
360
video.
Yeah, exactly, 360 video. I think it took a while for the content creators to figure out what worked, what resonated with the consumers. Mm-hmm. Now they've got that compelling content coming out everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's not just the stuff that we thought of. Last year I remember we said, real estate and e-tourism and all that. Yeah. But really documentary, narrative, scripted stuff, it's really all coming out.
Yeah. Again, it's establishing it, really proving the technology. It's not a gimmick, it's a thing. This is compelling content, and it takes the creators to drive that, I really think.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think even branded content is figuring out how to use VR, right? How to sell it, how to sell experiences, whether that be live experience or an experience later.
Yeah. And then the technology like Ozo Live and others are enabling either live stream, but also just acquisition in a live environment, straight to tape even if you want it to be, and then play back. So that's, again, finding a market. It's on the high end to the sort of reality documentary type spaces.
Yeah.
Scalable, I think, is the word.
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
for some, and we're seeing it from all over. Just the smaller cameras, the larger cameras, the Jaunts, the Ozos of the world, and whatever else is coming out this year. Yeah. You mentioned it already. Workflow has gotten a lot easier and a lot better.
Right.
And I think that was a big sort of hurdle that we had to overcome. But now we're just right there. I think it's going to be really interesting to see.
And it becomes more affordable too for workflow, because I think a lot of things with VR is people get concerned or afraid of the workflow. So if it becomes more accessible, more streamlined, we'll see more and more of it.
Exactly. How about this year? What are we excited about? It's still HDR and VR, right?
Yeah, definitely those two I think we'll continue to see, but also optics. So last year optics was a big topic for us as well. Mm-hmm. We talked about interchangeable mounts and different manufacturers releasing different zooms, and I think we'll continue to see both of those things, right? But maybe one thing that's exciting for us to talk about is the coverage, right, of lenses expanding.
So a bigger project covering full frame and beyond.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I think we were all a little worried last year, and just in general, that we talked about big sensor cameras. We said, oh yeah, we're going to have those soon, Right. But there wasn't necessarily the optics to cover it, really. We had a couple, but having more options and more cinematic options.
Right. Yeah, that's the key. We had still glass that would cover it.
Right.
If you don't want to use it for a certain look,
Right.
your options are really limited.
Right.
But now we're seeing a lot more of that coming out, which is great.
Yeah.
And just the variety of all those different looks, right? So as our cameras keep getting better and better, we can still have a different distinct look depending on what lens we choose.
Right. I think that's, just to take what you're saying there, that look is a big deal. Right? It's the lenses and the optics, then they're a big part of creativity these days. The cameras are better and better, and they're not all the same, but they're all pretty darn good.
Right.
You know, and so the optics become such a big part of that look in that decision.
Yeah, that's what's most exciting for me. It's not about the sharpest lens in the world.
No,
That's part of it, obviously.
Of course
but
yeah.
it's the look, it's the characteristic of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really compelling now with all these affordable lens options too.
Yeah.
Really high quality, but at a really affordable price point.
Right. Yeah.
Makes it really great for us.
And actually, I think looks like that have been around for a while, but maybe only in the indie market or in the feature film market. And so
Yeah.
I think one thing I'm noticing is that's coming all the way to network TV, having different looks. So
Yeah.
whether that be anamorphic or spherical or vintage,
Yeah.
we're seeing it in different markets instead of just a certain niche creative market.
No, I love that. It's just getting the high quality content all over, and the
Right.
fact that you can do it.
Yeah. And the zoom lenses too. You know, it'd be nice finally to have additional zoom lens options, especially for doc filmmakers, the sort of more run and gun type crews.
Right.
You know, there's a hole definitely in the market. You know, is it still glass? Is it really big cinema glass? Like, where was that in between that we're all looking for?
They have a brand new camera with a big sensor in it. What lens do I use? And I want to zoom. I want to have a zoom range.
And handheld.
And handheld,
Right.
right? Yeah. So what did you do? And it was a hole for because to your point, yeah. So I think you're seeing from all the manufacturers more and more, and at the right and a mix of price points. Obviously, you have the really highest quality ones that are practically or cinema lenses, or they are cinema lenses, and now you have ones that are a nice hybrid of it, but they're still delivering in quality. Yeah.
Some have servos, some don't.
Right,
It's a nice mix.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big deal to have it. Just availability,
Right.
across the board. And I think the other area that I'm excited about is lighting. The technology of
Yeah,
lighting
absolutely.
is continuing to evolve and improve, and not just in terms of output, but in output's increasing, but also just in sort of for versatility. I don't know.
I think variety of choices. So we were talking about one source being able to do so many different types of applications instead of having to have multiple different sources, for different effects.
Yeah.
So they're becoming lighter, they're smarter, they're more accessible.
Yeah.
So different Wi-Fi controls, Bluetooth controls, lights, so you can control one light or a bunch of lights together.
Yeah.
Even wireless DMX, right? You're going to integrate it into an existing
Right.
infrastructure, but you can do it wirelessly without worrying about cabling.
And that stuff, and this kind of smart technology in lights and in a lot of the products, actually, I feel like it's, again, establishing itself and being not such a gimmick, not just an idea, but actually something you can actually use.
Yeah, and I think that would mean also implying to the larger productions. So first, maybe smaller productions are the first to kind of
course,
take that on,
Right.
more affordable, more accessible. But now we're seeing even the high end use it as well.
Which is pretty cool that we're, Internet of Things in your camera. You control your camera, but you can control your lights and you control, I mean, I guess we could get it all on one iPad or something at one point if we want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see a lot more of that type of stuff where you have camera control, all the full controls, metadata, for anything that you really need it for. Even things like taking that picture and even streaming it, maybe straight from your iPad.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least being able to see picture on set. Like, how powerful is that to be able to see all the camera controls from a single device,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
centralized?
And then, but streaming itself is a big thing. I mean, some of the cameras we see, they have it built in already too, and that's one thing. But then just the accessibility and versatility of the streaming tools out there now. I mean, it's a big change, I think, from what we had years ago, where it was kind of just it had to be at a sort of large scale to even theory to ever get there. Right? Yeah.
I mean, content consumption has totally changed over the past couple of years. So certainly that type of deliverables is, to the home user on a phone, is the trend, and I think that'll be there to stay.
Yeah.
And it goes into even things like network. You mentioned it too, but like camera connectivity.
Right,
Used to be miles and miles of cable runs,
Yeah.
but there's Ethernet options now.
Yeah.
Ethernet can pack data just as well as SDI can,
Yeah.
and that exists in a lot of existing infrastructure.
Right.
It's more practical now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Network switching versus traditional SDI type switching.
Right. It turns it all online, makes it, again, it's more reach into different areas. We don't have to be just broadcast in order to have a live stream, right? But they all want the quality. They want the quality.
Right.
They
I was
need
going to
the
say,
quality.
it goes all the way to the high end, or we want the quality to be even better.
Right. And I think that's just a good sign of the times in general that cinema and in the live space, in the cinema space, there's just so much more demand for quality. I think we all have almost come to accept that this quality is there. I mean, look at TV today.
To say network TV is the best example.
It's amazing. It really is. And that's one of the most exciting things about being in the industry is that suddenly, and it feels like suddenly to me still, I mean, it's been a couple of years, obviously, but it feels still like suddenly that we went from, like here's network quality TV, and then there's the movies. And now it's
more of a blend.
Yeah.
And even with the players too.
Yeah, it's true.
Even the YouTube generation.
It's true,
I mean,
yeah.
We're seeing some really awesome stuff.
Yes.
Coming from what was traditionally just a YouTube only crowd.
Yeah.
But what does that mean anymore?
Right. Yeah.
The line's been blurred and just gone.
Yeah, and I love it. It kind of speaks to accessibility, but also demand of quality. And I think that's the big, to me, it's like, that's why you can keep evolving this technology and giving people, and growing the markets, because there's the demand there, and people know the difference. Even and the YouTubers know the difference too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this year at NAB, one thing we're doing a little bit different is at our booth we're going to host presentations. So we have a lot of panel presentations actually, where we're going to feature working professionals in all these different markets and feature these industry trends.
Right. Yeah, we have a great list of panelists coming and guests joining us, and we're actually changing it up a little bit this year. We're going to live stream everything straight from our booth, which will be great. So you'll be able to join not just in person and watch us while we're at the show, but join us on our NAB Hub online or through social media. We can't wait to interact with everyone, either virtually or in person. It'd be great.
Yeah.